interested in specifically jazz.
Ele geralmente começa falando um pouco de história e como ele se interessou pelo trompete, especificamente pelo jazz.
And then we can talk about what I practice and how I practice.
E depois ele pode falar, a gente pode conversar sobre o que ele pratica e como ele pratica.
Yeah, so this will mostly be a clinic on, I guess, not that you can just talk about jazz in an hour or two, but it'll be mostly about how to play, improvise.
Então ele vai falar mais parte do tempo de como tocar e como improvisar.
So let's start at the beginning. I was born in Philadelphia, which was a great, as we say, spawning ground for jazz musicians.
Bom, ele nasceu na Filadélfia, que é muito famoso por ser um solo onde nascem muitos músicos de jazz.
But it was also, you're good. But it was also a melting pot for many different styles of music.
E também é um lugar que não só de jazz, mas como muitos lugares, muitos outros tipos de música.
So we had the Philadelphia Orchestra. We had the birth of Hammond B3 organ with Jimmy Smith and many people like that. It was the birth of a TV show called American Bandstand, which featured live music. American Bandstand, and it became very famous.
E lá na Filadélfia tem a Orquestra da Filadélfia. Foi lá que foi criado o órgão Hammond
B3, Jimmy Smith.
Jerry Smith. E também foi lá também que nasceu um programa chamado Bandstand, um programa de televisão.
But the main thing that Philadelphia contributed, I think, besides all this other music, was also a wonderful record company called Gamble and Huff that produced R&B, rhythm and blues music.
Uma das coisas boas também da Filadélfia é que tinha uma gravadora.
Gamble and Huff.
Gamble and Huff.
Yes.
Eles gravavam bastante R&B.
And also, but the thing that Philadelphia did more than anything, all these other different styles, was produce great jazz musicians like John Coltrane. Dizzy Gillespie lived there when he was, they both moved there when they left the South. People like Benny Golson, the Heath brothers, I think you know these names. I could go on and on with how many Stan Getz. A lot of brothers too, the Heath brothers, the Brecker brothers, the Eubanks brothers, so Lee Morgan, Bobby Timmons, like I said, Jimmy Heath, Benny Golson, I mentioned John Coltrane, and if I think about it, there are hundreds of musicians that came from Philadelphia.
Todos esses nomes que ele falou, eles vieram da Filadélfia. Quando vieram do sul, né, alguns que vieram do sul que foram para Filadélfia, outros que nasceram lá, então John Coltrane, Benny Golson, falou todos os nomes, acho que vocês reconheceram a maioria deles.
So I also Clifford Brown. Let's talk about him. He was home based in Philadelphia with Max Roach. Now my father was a musician. He was also a lawyer, but his main love was to play the piano.
O pai dele era músico, ele era advogado, mas a principal paixão dele era tocar piano.
And he loved Clifford Brown and he loved the trumpet.
E ele adorava o Clifford Brown e adorava o trompete.
I also loved Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Shorty Rogers.
Também gostava do Shorty Rogers, Miles Davis.
So I was only 8 years old, and my little school only had trumpets or clarinets.
Então ele tinha 8 anos, na escola dele só tinha trompete e clarinete.
So I was 8 years old and I grabbed the trumpet. I knew that's what I wanted to play.
Então com 8 anos ele agarrou o trompete e começou a tocar.
And I started to study with Sigmund Herring, who became very famous for his books, his music books, mainly intermediate etudes.
Ele começou a estudar com Seymour Herring.
Sigmund Herring. Yeah.
Sigmund Herring. Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Ele estudou com Sigmund Herring, isso é Herring, do jeito que a gente fala aqui. Vocês conhecem aqueles livros de estudos melódicos? Ele estudou com ele. E que o cara ficou muito famoso, o Sigmund Herring, por ter escrito esses livros.
So I got a pretty good background as a youngster in classical music. That's why I have a good sound, I think.
Ele falou que ele teve excelente background em música clássica e por ele acredita que esse é um dos motivos que ele tem bom som. Ele acredita.
And I studied with him for 5 years.
Ele estudou com o Sigmund Herring por 5 anos.
Yeah, and but at the same time, this is what I want to concentrate on. By the time I started when I was 8, when I was 10 years old, I had the idea to bring my father's records up to my room and play along with jazz records.
Então, quando ele tinha 10 anos, ele teve uma ideia de pegar os discos do pai dele, levar para o quarto dele e começar a tocar junto com os discos.
So I started with ballads because it was easier. And I started with more lyrical trumpet players like Miles Davis, Chet Baker, and Shorty Rogers.
Então ele começou com as baladas. Primeiro começou a tocar junto com baladas que era mais fácil, eram mais fáceis. Então tocava junto com Chet Baker, Miles Davis e Shorty Rogers.
And I would just play the record over and over and play along with the record, trying to copy what they did.
E aí ficava tocando junto com o disco, só tentando copiar o que eu estava ouvindo.
The first song was around about midnight. That was the first song I learned at 10 years old. And I played it the way Miles played it. He would leave out a couple notes. I really didn't know the real melody. I just played it the way he did. And then I would improvise. It was easier to improvise during the piano solo, but I would listen over and over until I could sing the solos, sing along with Miles Davis solos.
Então ele começou a tirar, a primeira coisa que ele tirou foi o Round About Midnight, do jeito que o Miles tocava. E mais nessa gravação ele esconde algumas notas, ele não toca todas essas notas. E ele percebeu também que era mais fácil conseguir improvisar durante o solo do piano. Então, mais uma coisa que ele fez, ele decorou, ele cantava antes todas as melodias, decorou cantando as músicas antes de tocar.
And this was really a good way to learn. And what I was doing was internalizing the way to play jazz eighth notes and the way to articulate in jazz.
Então, dessa forma, ele acabou memorizando a forma de tocar semicolcheias, por exemplo, e a articulação do jazz. Acabou internalizando isso, fazendo dessa forma.
And I remember at one point Mr. Herring, my teacher, knew I had an interest in jazz, so he brought a book home by Bugs Bauer called Sketch Orcs, and he tried to show me how to, he called it, what was the word, syncopate the music. Syncopate, yes, syncopate. So he opened the book and he played a song for me that was called the Swing and Shepherd Blues. That might be too much.
Aí o Herring, o professor dele, começou a perceber que ele estava tendo interesse em jazz e aí trouxe um livro.
Oh, the name of the book was Bugs Bauer.
O nome do livro chama Bugs Bauer. Ele tinha 10 anos de idade. E aí ele mostrou, né? Ele começou a mostrar tipo as síncopas, queria mostrar as síncopas, né?
Yeah, syncopation.
Aí tocou isso daí que ele vai tocar.
And he showed me what his version of syncopation was. He played the song, and it sounded like. that was completely wrong, I knew in my head, because that didn't sound like Miles Davis.
Ele sabia já, mesmo de cabeça, ele já sabia que não tinha nada a ver com aquilo que ele estava acostumado a ouvir com Miles Davis.
So what I had done by listening to Miles Davis and Chet Baker was learn how to play eighth notes, which wasn't it was more quarter note, eighth note with a triplet, the three. So not dotted eighth, 16th, not. Yeah, that's wrong. And I was also learning how to, what they call now, a doodle tone.
Bom, aí ele começou a perceber que tocar o jazz não é tocar com cocheia pontuada sendo cocheia, e sem tocar tercinado, semínima e cocheia tercinada. Todos esses dois jeitos. O primeiro jeito que ele tocou seria dessa forma meio errada, meio parecendo uma tarantela. Essas são palavras minhas, tá? Aí, mas a segunda parte com mais swingada.